This is a homage beat.
What's up, T.K.O gang? We are finally here. This is Teddy and Key's observation, aka T.K.O. Yeah. Wish I had like a bell. Sound like we in the club.
What would the bell do?
No, sound like the
Oh,
air
like
horn.
an
Sound
alert.
like we in the club.
I know what you're talking about when you sit at the club.
I'm a DJ on the side. But anyway,
Okay.
thank you for joining our channel. This is our first official video, y'all. We in this thing. Where are my manners? Y'all don't know us. My name is Teddy. My lovely co-host name is
Key.
She's also my beautiful wife, y'all. Don't she look fine? You all right?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's just who we are by name. What we really want to do is tell you, obviously, our name, but we also want to tell you our purpose in creating this channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to let Key handle that.
Yeah, so our purpose is, as Teddy and Key's observation, is to observe and review with, while bringing enlightenment, awareness, positivity with love, no judgment, because we've all had our own struggles. We're all learning, trying to figure it out.
For sure.
And we just, we spend a lot of time on social media. It's became a part of our daily topics when we sit down and talk to each other. So we're just like, why don't we just put this on camera? So
yeah, instead of sitting on the couch, scrolling through social media, like, man, you see this? I'm just kidding. You see this stuff? Then we have a whole dialogue, and it goes nowhere besides between me and her, because we're already like-minded on a lot of stuff. That's why I married her. But we decided to put this on camera, see where it goes. So hopefully, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe and hit that like button. And comment,
Yes, like, share, and subscribe.
Sure.
So I guess they're probably wondering, like, how did we get together?
One day you popped up and I said, you gonna marry me? You said, sure, and the rest was history.
That's the short version.
Pretty much. But the more accurate version.
Yeah. Teddy and I met in 2010 at a Walmart when he was a freshman in college. And, I kind of wasn't really checking him out. I was looking for his roommate who was like 6'6", and then I heard a voice from like 12 feet below that say
12 feet, but I was on the floor, through the floor below.
I'm sorry, 12 inches, somehow 12 feet.
Well, somebody get this girl like calculator.
You was in the ground.
Right.
But anyways, 12 inches below that. Joke's on me.
It wasn't 12 inches.
Okay.
I ain't 5'6". So
12 inches below that was like, I kept walking by trying to grab some attention. That was like my way
times you walk by?
Of shooting my shot.
How many times you walk by?
At least about 5.
At least about 10.
No.
Yes.
But anyways, so after I heard Teddy, I heard him say, you must want some attention or something. And, we became friends. I hollered at his roommate for like a month. It was nothing short. It was something short, I didn't
Nothing
smash the homie, my name ain't Danger, whatever.
She smashed the homie.
She smashed the homie.
Yeah, she ain't do that.
But anyway, so.
Or did you?
Oh my gosh.
No, you shouldn't.
So Chris and I became friends. We stayed in contact through social media. And then I moved here to Atlanta, and then we kind of connected, and he liked it, so he put a ring on it.
That's the real short version.
That is a real short version.
So many details that we're going to share with y'all a little bit later. But
right.
The long story short of it, that is how we met. Did you just say you moved here in 2015?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did move here in 2015.
Yeah, 2015. And we weren't dating before that. So just a quick idea of the timeline and kind of like you can get an idea of our mindset. She moved here 2015. I think we said we go together. And in November, we moved in with each other that following March in April in
Yeah.
2016.
April 1st.
I proposed 1 month later, and then we got married in August 2016.
Yeah, it was very short. So we had like not even dated a full year, and we got married.
Yeah, you know,
Went by like phew, like that.
Boy, man. We gonna tell you about some of the regrets that we had in doing that.
Yeah.
If we had to redo it, how we would reapproach it. But these conversations are all for, you know, other episodes. We don't want to put too much out there on that because
we want
it's a lot to talk about.
Keep this light. It is a lot to talk about. And then we ended up actually having a baby boy in 2017. So
my little man.
It went by kind of fast, but now that we're out of the dating game and social media, especially Instagram, has turned into this like little playground of what should a woman do, what should a man do, you know, red flags as of current events right now. We just wanted to kind of give our input on the observations of the things that we've seen, especially with popular influencers popping up that we have taken a liking to. Some of them we share the same opinion. Some of them our opinion differs. And I think the big topic that has been going around on Instagram or social media for so long is the whole 50-50 thing. Like, how much should the man pay? How much should the woman pay?
Pretty much. And this is what we about to get into it, y'all, because we've been waiting on this. 50-50.
Right.
So, from my take on it and my observations of what the internet is giving me on my feed, because we all know it can be biased in what it gives us.
True.
Women out here don't really like 50-50. But it's like a curse word. It's almost like you straight up slap them in the face if you say 50-50.
Yeah. I think the ones, if I could really give my observation on it, I think the ones who aren't married are the ones who are hollering 50-50. And you can...
Wait. You saying the ones who aren't married are an advocate for 50-50?
No, they're hollering against 50-50. Okay. So, I had someone on my timeline made a post, and they were just like, you know, they won't settle. They're not here for the 50-50. And I really, so deep down in my heart, wanted to just give them information and let them know, like, hey, I don't care what songs you heard, what your mama told you, what your grandmother told you. Times have changed. Like, I think people don't really understand that since women are now in the workforce, we are actually competing against our men for similar jobs. Especially with Black women being the most educated, the most educated, the most decorated in college degrees.
Okay, so is that really true though? You know, we listen to the same person. I'm not gonna mention name, but he made a comment saying the most educated. I think that statistic was just around the most enrolled, maybe not necessarily the most degree. Now you say degree, I don't have a stat to back that up.
Okay.
But if we're talking about the same thing, that's how he clarified it even more.
Okay, I can see that. Well, I get what you're saying. Whether they, you know, finish or they get some college, I think that Black women are going into college more than a lot of Black men, and because that's pushed on Black women is to get your education. Don't depend on no man. But it's so. What's what I'm looking for? It's so backwards because it says get your education, get a good job, don't depend on no man, but yet you hollering that you not gonna go 50-50. So that makes no sense.
Well, let me sneak into this part right here. So what confuses me with the modern day woman in this 50-50 or this anti-50-50 rhetoric is, and you and I have had this talk, you know, we actually had some disagreeing views initially on it, is that they want the man to be that traditional man, the provider, that word provider, right? And in today's terms, is really almost just meaning financial. I want my man to be a provider.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the flip side of that is, okay, you want your man to be a traditional man, but are you a quote unquote traditional woman? And just to define the modern woman really quickly to kind of dispel any naysayers, modern women simply just means you're born of this era. You're a modern woman. I'm a modern man. It just means we're born of this era.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the most modern area. So that's all it is. Not really more descriptions. But again, the issue is if you're not a traditional woman, where I would consider my definition, take it for your own, you're not at home almost 24/7. You're managing the households. You're managing appointments, scheduling, parent-teacher conferences, all this other stuff. Like, and again, you can give me a difference of opinion here. But if you're not that traditional woman where you're not actually contributing via a check, then if you're trading your time out for work as well, then why is it that you get to keep the majority of your money and the man still has to fulfill this traditional role sense and there's two people working?
Well, I think it goes back to what you said, like roles. Like a lot of people have not been given their roles because I don't know. I never grew up seeing marriage, and I don't know if anybody's ever grown up seeing a healthy marriage. Like every marriage has its, struggles or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But many women will say now that the fact that they have to work and do those things that you just named, as far as cooking, cleaning, making appointments, keeping up with kids, they think that that's not fair, especially if the man is going to just go to work and come home and think that he doesn't have anything that to contribute to the household for. So it has to be like a shared thing for everybody.
It does.
On both ends. So like if you're putting 50-50 into like keeping the house together and then 50-50 into finances, then that works. There's also, you can do proportion, like percentage, like, if somebody's going to be in the household.
Who put you on?
You put me on. If somebody's going to be in the household like 70% of the time, so that means they should do 70% of the work, like for the woman. Right. And then let's say she has like a little, a part-time that she does, then she, she contributes her part-time. And then the man would do most of the finance and he would do a little bit of, housework part-time. Mm-hmm. I think that works. But I really think that women have to actually do their research and look at the statistics. And our average black man makes like, I think $42,000 and $500.
Okay.
So
I thought it was 48, but it's still in the 40s.
Yeah, regardless. Still in the 40s. Maybe it changed. However, I don't know, like, what do you expect? So if women are going to say, like...
Hold on, I'm going to tell you what they expect.
If women... Let me finish before. If all women are going to say, I'm not doing 50-50, you should say, like, well, I'm here to do a percentage. But you also got to look at the percentage. So let's just say a woman is making $60K and her man is making $40K. Sis, you're going to have to come up off more because it doesn't make sense for him to be paying more than you. A household does not run off of $50K, especially when you're trying to include kids. Y'all are going to be on government assistance. And there's nothing wrong with that for those who, need it, but there's no point for your family of 3 to live off $50K. And you're not going to get a designer bag. You're not going to drive your luxury car. And you're not going to be taking your babies to Disney World. That's just not a lifestyle. Now, if you're dating a drug dealer, you should just say that. If that's the risk you want to take.
But we're not talking to those people. I mean, if that's their mindset, then this whole conversation don't apply to you. Comment what you like what you like, but you skip the rest of this because it ain't fair. It's for the women that really do have that mindset of, okay, their mom, their aunts, their elders told them that a man is supposed to take care of the household. Meanwhile, some of them same elders ain't got a man. But okay, that's a whole nother topic.
Funny story.
But yeah, for someone to tell you that And then you have to be able to look at today's time frame and say, okay, well, shoot, inflation is real. Cost of living is real. A 1-bedroom apartment could cost you as much as $1,000. 2-bedroom or just even an apartment would run you about $1,500.
Yes.
You know, we way out here in the country. Won't disclose the location, but we out here in the country, and you know, we barely like can get a decent sized house for about whatever we pay. Won't tell you that. Just know this house that we're in is as much as our rental house. Like, and that house is a little bit bigger than this one. The costs just keep going up. So to expect for your man to pay that and everything while you make your money, again, this is for the working women that went to school, got their education. It's just benign to me. And to comment to what you said too before, yeah. Men, you can't just sit here and be like, oh, she's a woman, she's supposed to do all of this stuff. And you and I have had our own struggles with this conversation. We have, a little hard-headed, a little wet behind the ears sometimes, but we evolve and we grow.
Right.
But man, you gotta be able to do more than just bring a paycheck if your spouse is bringing in a paycheck as well. That's at least somewhat comparable. Using your example of the man, I think this is your example. Man, you making 60, she making 40. That's 60-40. Now, my philosophy has always been like, if we're just gonna go by finances, what you were talking about, split it by percentage. You pay 60% of the bills, and y'all pay 40% of the bills, or she pays 40% of the bills.
No. She would pay 60, he would pay 40 if she's making more than him.
Okay, so I didn't use the same example. I was saying if he made 60 and she made 40, then yeah, he's paying the majority part. He's paying his lion's share of that 60%, because why would you go 50-50? He's going to walk away with more money proportionally than you. It's unfair to you.
Correct.
Now, where it gets into the nuances is that, okay, exactly what you just said. All right, if she's working and he's working, now what are the other trade-offs that are kind of intangibles? Shower time, putting the kid to bed, taking them to practice, cleaning up around the house. And people don't think like that, because people just want to say 50-50. It's just
all
like,
or nothing.
Yeah, it's all or nothing. And I guess kind of what we're here to say is on the subject, it's like, you have to think beyond that and tailor it to your lifestyle. Definitely. If you get stuck in that 50-50 conversation, your marriage or your potential relationship, it probably won't go far. You'll have a lot of arguments over this stuff.
You definitely will. And finance is the number one reason for divorces. It is. I mean, figure it out before you guys decide to say I do. For the women who won't come up off the 50-50, they just don't want to do it. I mean, good luck. I don't see how you're going to afford a lifestyle on one income. I mean, you can, but, then we get down to retirements.
I mean, you can. And let's just clarify this. So you and I kind of had this conversation today, not in the specificity of it, but just we hinted on it. You can set your budget, your living arrangement off of one income. That doesn't mean just because, let's say that the guy makes 60, y'all can base your life around his 60K. So just in case something happens to you or him, for the most part, y'all aren't overspending.
Right. You're not living above your means.
Yeah, basically, you're not living above your means. So you got to keep that in mind. But again, that doesn't necessarily have to translate that because he's 60K, you have to, because he's the man, he has to pay all the bills and you keep your money for whatever reason.
So that means that her money would go towards like the future.
When everybody thinks like that. And you and I discussion earlier, yeah, I agree with you. And you can finish your point. But yeah, as long as both people agree, like, okay, if I'm going to pay all the bills, then this
right, like she can't just be pocketing the money, homegirl pulling up with new bags and purses. Like, you have to think
there's women out here who think like that, though. There's women out here is like, he's supposed to take care of the bills and the future, you know, and I'll reward him with, on his birthday and with, they A1 credit, all this stuff, like I'm gonna reward you with that and an occasional gift. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, you ain't really giving me nothing back. You're not in the house, not taking care of our kids. You're working, you do some housework, but you don't want to contribute nothing, even for our future. That's why I have a problem with it. The conversation we were having earlier, I don't have a problem with it. We already discussed it. in terms of like come to that conclusion together, or at least me getting some more insight to it. But nevertheless, is women out here who think they shouldn't contribute nothing because they're just a woman and they wanted somebody
Right.
to
They
take
think
care
that somebody is supposed to, I guess pamper them. They think that. I will say this in the Bible. I was
we
reading the
going there.
Bible.
Well, she mentioned the B word.
I was reading the children's Bible with my son, or listening to it on Audible, and they talked about how Eve ate the apple. She shared it with Adam, of course, and God puts the curse on each gender. So for Adam, he didn't have the luxury of eating what was in the Garden of Eden anymore.
Right.
He had to go out there outside of Eden and provide for himself. Hunt his own food, basically.
You have to labor for it.
And Eve's curse was, of course, that she would have labor pains, and her husband would rule over her. Yeah. So I think that women, it has to be a type of balance. Either you want your man to pay 100%, and you walk this line of him leading you because he is paying the finances and this is his household basically, or you go out there, you make your money as well, and you guys have balance and you compromise and you are on the same page with certain things. But the world has gotten so far from those Bible times that you can't possibly just expect for a man to go out there and hunt and bring home everything.
Ain't nobody going in their backyard, chopping down wood, building a house, got their own farm. We passed this.
You being so literal, but
I'm just saying, people want to take the words in the Bible literally and say, well, they said you should provide. And this is what I want to get into next after you finish your point, which is people don't know what it means for a man to provide. It's often that one thing, finance, because that's the most tangible thing.
Right. A man provides so much more. He provides structure. He provides balance. He provides logic.
Spiritual headship.
Yeah, spiritual headship. That's true.
If you're spiritual or you're a Christian, again, for those. But even then, there's other intangibles that men bring to the table where they can truly lead and flourish for his family, where it's just not tied directly to
his finances.
That is not an excuse, man, to not do your part. Yeah. And there's no shade or slight to any, what's the term? Stay-at-home husbands, right?
Right.
Because you can still lead from that position.
You sure can.
You're not inferior because of that. But there's a lot of women and men, because I've seen men comment and say, I can't let my woman pay anything. I got to do that. And I have my own personal opinion about men who say that, because I have to question you a little bit. But it's people on both sides that say,
like, what's your stance? Why can't you let your wife pay anything?
Right.
Like, I think at that point you're beating your chest saying, I am man. And I think that type of attitude will show in different aspects outside of finance.
Right. If you're that proud that you pay everything, kudos to you. But what else can you provide? Can you be a true friend to your wife? Can you really be a person that knows how to listen, because you think you lead with your wallet, that you get to be dictator and lord over everything? Because a good leader doesn't sit here and just say, well, I make all the decisions because I pay all the finances. Sometimes that's how men come off who comment and say this stuff online or verbally, whereas, they leading with all this, but you got no substance behind you. You could be an abuser. You could be a whole bunch of evil or negative things behind closed doors, because you just leading with a paycheck. Anybody can do that.
Right. It's true. It's so true. So I mean, I definitely hope that single women out there, or even married women, hear when we say, like, you got to change the narrative. If you're just going to go off of what's being popular now, the conversation of 50-50, at least have your own stance and, say, well, I don't know about 50-50, but whatever the percentage is, whatever is brought to me.
What makes sense for you?
Right. What makes sense for you guys? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense because you just can't live off one income.
Now, again, if you choose to go down that route, if it's your dream to have 6 kids, that's a lot.
I mean, do what you do.
If you want 4 kids, how many kids, and you want to be the stay-at-home wife,
You gotta think about this.
Some women are very talented at doing that. They're like, they're the stay-at-home wife and mom.
That's some women like
Bro.
that. I am not one of those.
Granted. And although you never mind. Anyway, if you are that person, because I grew up with a best friend across the street. She was a stay-at-home mom. Like,
had 7 kids, I think you told me.
Yeah, 7 kids. She was on it, god dog it. Like she was on her stuff. Like she ran that household. I didn't even know what the dad did. He was cool, but that mama ran that household with 7 kids and all homeschool. And I ain't seen not nan tutor over there. Wonderful woman, raised some wonderful kids. But if that's your dream, nobody is knocking that. You just have to be upfront and clear and find you someone
who was with that,
but not with that for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Like in that example, in my best friend's example, when I was younger, like I didn't see the dad try to be controlling. It was like he gave respect to the domain that she controlled, and that was that. It was easy. That's how it's supposed to go if you choose that type of lifestyle.
Right.
But we're in 2021 in the 20th century, right? 21st century, and men and women work, and more women want to work because they've been hurt or they've heard of hurt,
right?
And they're fearful of hurt. Don't let no man control you with your money.
Get your own money, right?
And there's truth in some of those things, but it's been broadcasted to the extreme to where it's fear mongering and it's causing this divide amongst men and women. And I think more so, and I don't know statistics, well, I kind of do, but the statistics would probably lead to more. It's really just between black men and black women,
right? That we just can't seem to figure it out.
We can't get it together,
right? And I think that's what I mean. Even if other cultures have like the fight with finance, they are at least figuring it out while they're married, and they just realize, okay, like this doesn't work for us. But I think it hinders a lot of our people from getting married because I think subconsciously finance is such a big deal within the black community because we expect a lot from our men.
You just said something that kind of made me think. Finances, right, in the black community. For the majority part of the black community, if I talk to, and this is my anecdotal experience here, if I talk to my friends, my peers, people I've grown up with, and I look at their parents and I get my friends' experience, they're not being taught financial literacy in the house. And then, if you look
majority of them aren't.
They're not, and it's not taught in school, right? Until you want to go major for business, if you choose to do it. But it's not being taught in the house. The simple accounting of keeping up with a checkbook, understanding simple things of how to put bills on auto pay, how to invest, how to start a Roth IRA, how to do a bunch of different things outside of the mechanics of school, where other cultures that don't look like us, who have been here longer, have that knowledge generally when you're talking about scale. I'm not talking about individuals because we got people around here who probably haven't, in our neighborhood who haven't gotten that same literacy. But on the macro scale, they are. And I think that somehow translates down into the dating scene for the future, whether they came from a 2-parent household or not, although we come from less 2-parent households. That financial literacy helps bridge that gap once someone gets into a relationship because they both have an understanding how finances work. They might have some disagreements, but I don't believe it's to the extent that the black community is experiencing it and how we go about discussing it. Because we have very different views between men and women on how to handle finances and who does what.
Right. I really just think that other cultures, like, I think they work together. Like what makes sense for them, and they just move forward. I really think that that's what the case
because
is.
they have more clear definition on what their role is in
Right.
the family.
Right.
The Black community, we're still struggling to identify our roles, and not to
Right.
go back to, not to take you to an entire history of slavery, but if you just track it back from what happened with slavery, the buck breaking, and all these different strategies held by slave masters, and then
Right.
Jim Crow and all this other stuff, and how we divided, and you got the government assistance that kicked in, and black men being incarcerated. You add all of that together, how do we know our roles in the place of a black marriage, regardless if you're Christian, spiritual, whatever? How do you know your role? And if you don't know your role and you don't have financial literacy, to me, that creates the perfect equation to why our marital rates look the way they do.
Right.
And especially if finance is that leading conversation.
And I think that women, black women, unintentionally like emasculating their men. I think that it's just a natural thing for many black women because you're taught to be so strong. And it's just even in a household where there is a man who wants to lead, a woman, she wants to basically just tell him how to do it. Like, she's not very open to hearing him out.
Collaboration.
Right, collaboration. I think that's something that we're working on
Yeah,
in our marriage is collaboration.
Listen, we forgot to make this disclaimer. I think we did, but we are two imperfect people. Mm-hmm. We reserve the right to say something on this channel and correct ourselves.
Correct.
Because if you pinpoint us to a moment of action on camera,
right,
and we learn and grow, you all comment back, or we come into new information, we reserve the right to grow. So we're not stuck in our opinions.
Correct.
So I say all to say, like, we're still working on a collaboration. We just we just kind of got off on a series of serious discussions.
Hormones.
That kind of actually pushed
a little bit.
Kind of actually pushed this video back a little bit, but we're working through it, and we're just sharing what we know, and what we know may change, and hopefully it touches and benefits the right people. You all can grow with us and actually teach us a couple things.
Correct. Too. Yeah, definitely open, but yes, collaboration is key. You just gotta work with your man, ladies. And I think I had this discussion, one last point. I had this discussion commenting I was being a keyboard warrior. But I was basically just saying the same thing to a young lady under a post. And I was just saying, you guys have to do what works for you. It can be a percentage thing. And she was like, what's up with coddling black men, if I'm saying that correctly, coddling black men? I'm like, nobody's coddling anybody. You want to do what's best for the family, what pushes the family forward.
They're trying to save face. They're trying to save face of what a woman means to them, and the idea of negotiating, lessening their self for the betterment of the family. They don't understand that. It's just, the whole I'm not settling. Okay, you're just making everything about you at this point. You want to be married, or you just want to get everything on your list? If that's cool, you want to get everything on your list,
then
just
go
know the chances
for
of actually doing that, more power
especially to you. With the average black man making under $50K.
So real quick, we talked about, or you hinted at, how social media impacts people's views. Man, this is the biggest thing that I have a problem with social media. You get on social media, everybody knows we put up our best versions of ourselves. There's a handful of people on social media that will actually share with you their pain, their struggle. But it's not common to go online and post, what the heck you're going through. People post the best parts. And lately, what I've seen, especially with ads, when I look up, how to start this business, how to get into this, and I'm just researching, I've noticed that there's algorithms out there that feed you a bunch of hoopla that everybody is rich. Everybody. You would think we are all balling out here. So I think that does filter into the dating psyche nowadays.
Right.
Where, okay, I know what I see when I go online. You got peers, people talking about the same thing. But again, that's your anecdotal experience. That's what your feed. It's the algorithm, and it's conditioning you to believe a false reality when most people out here are struggling.
They
or at least
really
just
are.
average.
Or scamming. Let's not forget that.
Or scamming. You're being led astray.
This Atlanta.
It is Atlanta, but even anywhere, you're being
Yes.
led astray by false advertisement, and now you're thinking like, well, it's easy to go find such and such, and
Right. And people, I don't know if people look at the statistics because we weren't taught that in school, but this information is out there, and people who question it, they're like, so where do they get this information if, a lot of people don't fill out the census anyway? You better believe that the government knows who their high rollers are. And companies actually have to, in HR, they have to keep a list of the salaries, of the race of the person, just to make sure that things are fair. So there's
data out there, basically.
Yeah, it's out there. Like,
you can question it all you want to. It's out there.
Exactly. People aren't making as much money as they claim to be. And
they're not.
If they got a lot of money, you better ask them what they do. Look for paycheck stuff, get background. And I think that's another thing too. People, they're too scared to kind of get gutter in like
it
dating.
Seems invasive.
Yeah, it does. But at the end of the day, like, okay, what we doing? Like, okay.
Hold on now. That's another topic.
That is another topic.
What we doing? What we doing, y'all? I made a little post. I screenshot a post from Spiritual Word about the 2-3 months thing, but essentially what we doing. We'll get into that later. But it's invasive, but it's to the point.
Right? Yeah, it's to the point. Make sure you get receipts, and people can make fake statements out here. Yeah. So
I don't say no names.
It's kind of hard.
But you're black. Somebody that can make some fake pay stuff. I promise you. Family, friend, or foe, somebody.
Right. It's true.
Hey, that's how you make your living, boo-boo. Do you? Do you, boo-boo?
Until you get caught.
And till you get caught.
Yeah, but this was fun.
It was fun.
We were a little nervous in the beginning, and I won't lie. But as we got to the conversation part, like, I think it's a little nerve-wracking introducing ourselves to the public. We know each other. Like, we know how to have a conversation, which is the easy part.
I want to be very real. We don't know each other.
Okay, we don't.
Seriously, we don't know each other.
We're learning each other.
Yeah,
we're comfortable with each other. That's a difference. So we're comfortable enough to be silly, to be wrong, to, not get it right, but in front of other people.
Right. And I bet you're like, well, rewind that back. Y'all got married in 2016. It's 2021, and you telling me you still don't know her and she don't know you? Yes.
You're always learning your spouse.
You are. And for a couple reasons. One, life happens, life changes to the collective and the individual, right? So if you're expecting that person to be the same, you got to learn them, not all over again, but you got to learn them in every scenario.
Learn them as they're learning themselves.
Right.
And that's like the patience that you have to have in marriage.
And I want to save this topic truly for later, but people think they can know each other. They can date each other long enough to know each other. And I'm here to tell you, you are wrong. That's just my opinion, but I believe you are wrong. And you can end up wasting
years.
Hold on.
Just say years.
Okay, years. With the wrong person, just for you to like, oh, I want to see them when they're down. Oh, I want to see them when they're up. Oh, I want to see them like this, like, bruh.
They might have a good five year, good
I'm gonna say this,
years.
and then we can really talk about it later. A job interview. They get maybe 3 interviews with you. They take you on 3 dates, an hour each, to make a determination if you're gonna be a full-time hire and pay you. And you telling me you're gonna talk to somebody, date somebody, try to interview them for a whole 2-5 years. And I was one of the people back in the day who was like, she'll tell you, I was gonna make her wait 5 years.
He was not about to make me wait 5 years.
She put her foot down. I went like, okay. Just take your foot off the neck. I got you.
Okay, if you say so.
But no, I was of that same mindset, but it's just like, if you think about it in that sense, and people don't think of marriage as business. We think of marriage as Disney, romantic love.
Definitely.
But if you think about it in that business sense, I'm hiring a resource, or I'm trying to make a partnership with a resource. I don't have time for 5 years to vet you out. I got to make decisions quickly, and you got to know how to do that. But again, to each their own.
Right.
But we'll get into that topic a little bit later.
Yeah, we got lots of topics for you guys. Lots to share, lots to discuss and figure out for ourselves as well.
Yep.
We would love for you guys to like, share, comments, about this late 20s couple who has been together for...
Late 20s. I'll be honest. I'm pushing 30. 30
Yes.
in December. And I'm proud of it, but I'm 29 until then. 29 and 5.
Oh my gosh,
So my wife
just give
says
it up. But just to share our perspective, a lot of people would, try to say that we still have, Similac behind our ears just because, you under 30, but we've been through a lot as individuals and together. So how you want to wrap this thing up?
Listen, like she said, like, share, subscribe. We call T.K.O for a reason.
Not you threatening the people.
No violence, no violence. You didn't see that. Remind it. Okay.
Hilarious.
Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment. Please tell us your thoughts in the video. This is one of many. Hopefully, by the time we get to video 1,000, we done got a little clout and whatever. We can do some
We're
things.
not out here for clout.
We ain't out here for clout. I'm just saying we got some actual, live following, that can
can interact with us.
We're realistic. This is the first video. We just hope that our friends, family start to support, and any random people out here decide to click on this video, engage with us in real life conversations. Feedback is always appreciated.
Always.
And
even if we don't like the comment, it's appreciated.
It is appreciated. Yeah. We ain't about to be them people that be like, oh man, that comment, we should just stop doing. No, we gonna say we got to stay. We love it anyway, and we appreciate it. But yeah.
All right.
And on that note,
we out.
It's T.K.O,
baby.
Boom.
It's okay.
We still practicing, y'all.
I made it all the way through without messing up.
All the way through. It's the last one, too. Come on, dog. DJ, cue the music.
I gotta get on your beat because I got my own beat.
Oh.